Hey, what's going on, everybody? DJ Pat here. Today I'm actually going to talk about architectural uplighting. Before I do that, though, I'm actually going to give you a little history about what we used to do back in the day before we've had the wonderful technology of LED, which has always been around. It's just not been introduced into the application of the mobile DJ till about the last couple of years. And believe you me, we've taken full advantage of it. Before we had LEDs, we had halogen, whether it be a par 36, a 3856, or 64. When we had these big halogen lights, I personally had a whole bunch of American DJ par 64s. It did present a lot of problems. Even though architectural uplighting looked really nice, a couple of the problems is, one of the major problems is that the lighting fixture got hot really fast. And it stayed hot even long after you unplugged it. So if I was at a wedding where I had a lot of kids running around, I was always scared that one of them would touch it. They would touch it, they would burn themselves instantly. They got that hot. So what we did is to kind of combat that to the best we could. We would take pieces of wood about yay long, about a little bit higher than the fixture itself in length, sitting up on the ground, and we would put a piano hinge between them, paint it black, so it almost sits like a V, so it collapse like that, you open it up like a V, and you set it right in front of your fixture, and that would kind of act as somewhat of a deterrent from people touching it. So that's one of the problems. The other problem is, if you wanted to change the color, you couldn't do it on the fly. You couldn't do it quick at all. You had to actually, go up to the fixture. If it's running, hopefully it's not, you pull out the slide, you take out the gel, you put a new gel in, you slide it back in, and you got your color. And you got to do that 8-10 times. It's a pain in the ass. One of the other things is the colors of the gels. Because this is a 400-watt bulb, the color does fade fairly quickly, depending on the gels you get. If you get a little higher end gels, then you can stay on the color for a little while. The thinner ones, the real thin ones, they didn't last too long at all. But you also got an inconsistency of color. Let's say, for example, if you're normally used to using 4 par cans, you're using 4 cans every time you do something, and you've been doing that for pretty much 8-9 months straight, then all of a sudden you get a show that's going to warrant more cans, so now you're using 4 and 4, so you got a total of 8. But if you've been using red the whole time, your red is not going to be consistent color, so you're going to have four cans that are different red than the other 4 cans. Eventually the red starts to turn pink, and the green starts to just kind of bleed out and fade away. So there's a whole bunch of problems related to architectural uplighting, and why I never did too much of it. I used to, because I thought it looked cool, but it wasn't worth all the time and hassle and problems to achieve it. But now, my friends, because of LEDs, we've got par cans that are now LED. This is the LED Rain 64. I've got several of these, and I think they're an awesome light. They do have a nice bit of power to them. They only produce about 18 watts of power, so low power consumption on the venue you're going to be at. Go ahead and crack it open for you so you can check it out. They're also a lot smaller than normal par 64s. This is like a 56 almost, just a little bit smaller, but about in circumference. Yeah, the 64s were cannons, and this produces the same amount of light. Now, when it comes to the LEDs, 100,000 hours on these diodes, 183 of them in total. You've got 61 red, 61 green, and 61 blue, which all can mix to make all the other colors you're going to need. On the back, of course, you've got power in and out. You've got your DMX, and you've also got like a sensitivity switch, or it's actually helps you scroll through the speed, so to speak. So if you're to set something to sound active, or just do one color, or you're going to do you're going to set it to go from one color to the next, you can actually change the speed right here on that little dial if you don't have a controller. One of the cool things, though, about these things being DMX, because if you were to do par cans DMX, you had to have a separate controller relay pack that the fixture would have to be plugged into. This is not the case. You could use any DMX controller. I personally use the American DJ My DMX. I think it's a great program, but if everything is all DMX'd up and you're ready to go, and you're running blue all night and you want to change the green for the heck of it, you can change to green instantly. You can make a flash strobe, do whatever you like. And I think it's a great advantage to us to be able to do these really cool things on the fly. And again, the color is just amazing out of these lights, a lot better than the old halogen par 64s that we used to use or whatnot. Now, I do want to make a notation here that a lot of people, I always use this yoke, when I'm working in a venue, when I'm setting it on the ground like that, or I'm mounting it against, like I'm putting that up against the wall, and this is kind of butting up against the wall, it's on the ground, whatever the case may be. I notice that some people out there have been customizing their lighting effect to accommodate for a particular problem that they're having. The length of the DMX cable. Now, people have been making these brackets or stands or something to extend because of the length of the cable. Quite simply, you can buy a bracket from Chauvet, I do believe, that can help you out with this particular problem of extension. But the other thing that I do this mostly. I just use a different DMX cable, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Here's two different DMX cables. This is just a regular Accu cable, and this one right here is actually a Chauvet DMX 15 cable. Now, when you look at them straight on, they look like regular DMX cables, what have you. Okay, but now when I turn them sideways, look what happens. Yep, this one's shorter. It's like from here up is this on this one, and it didn't need any of that stuff. So you see that? There's a big difference. So I use these guys instead of the big ones. Now I've only seen these in, I think this is 5 feet. Yeah, I've only seen these in 5-footers, but I always keep them plugged in anyway, and then I just put the other DMX cable on the outs of these for the extension. But these are the ones that always go in. And I'll give you an idea. So if I'm going to plug this one in, my DMX out, I mean it fits, but it could be a little bit better, when it comes to the bracket. And then also, if you loosen it up a little bit, if I'm to try to set it like this and bounce it on the ground, ain't no way, because that's hanging out the bottom. So I'm not going to do that. So if I take the other cable and I plug it in, I can now set it on the ground no problem. That's a lot easier setting it on the ground and keeping a balance. So carpentry, which basically said bye-bye to me years ago, I'm not having to sit here and customize or make any type of brackets or anything that'll make this thing work. All I'm doing is just buying smaller DMX cable. Okay, that's all you really got to do. So with that being said, once again, the Chauvet LED Range 64, it's a great fixture. I highly recommend picking them up. My quote from Ferris Bueller, because that's like one of my favorite movies of all time. But definitely check them out. They're worthwhile. They're a great lighting fixture all around. So thank you very much for paying attention, and stay in the mix.